Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we're going to talk about something that I think is overlooked by many attorneys, and that is referrals and how to keep up with referrals and how to look at your clients. Don't hurt yourself by giving referrals, because, you know, if you give somebody a referral and they don't look at them, then they blame you too. So today we have an honor to have Gabriel Stiritz with Lexamica. I say it, Lexamica, right? Did I get it right?
Lexamica.
Lexamica.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just told me that 2 minutes ago. Lexamica. So it's LEXAMICA.com. So welcome, Gabriel. Welcome to today's deal. We're getting started with my tongue twisting, but we'll get there. We'll get there, I promise you. So tell me a little bit about yourself, and then tell me about this new software, and tell me how it helps and how it works, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. My background is, I've been all over the map, actually, in terms of career and professional trajectory. It was actually cool. My background before being in plaintiff's law was in nonprofit and nonprofit fundraising. I did that for 8 years. And then before that, I went to the Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia. So closer to your home, Ken. I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas now. But I did get the only other person I met who has a similar career trajectory to mine was Ben Glass. Met him recently, and he was in nonprofit fundraising before he moved into the legal space as well. So there's at least two of us out there. But I love it. There's actually a lot of crossover between what I see in plaintiff's law and what I saw in nonprofit, which is along the lines of the idea that in both places, what we're doing is we're offering a service essentially for free to people who many times can't afford that for themselves. And so I love being in plaintiff's law. There's a lot of access to justice components here. There's a lot of, we're bringing something of value to people regardless of whether or not they can pay for it. And in a lot of ways, we're supporting what keeps America. What makes America so special is that people have access to justice, to legal services. So I really love being a part of this world. Have not looked back since I made the transition in 2019.
So tell me about this new software, Lexamica.
Yeah. So, just a little bit more background is that when I moved into plaintiff's law in 2019 here in Arkansas, working for a wage and hour law firm. So we were litigating cases under the FLSA, the Fair Labor Standards Act, all over the country, helping workers to get wages that they had not been paid by their employers. The way that we started to interact with referrals was we realized that these plaintiffs' law firms, specifically the ones who are advertising on radio, TV, and billboard, are getting employment calls all the time from people because they knew the names of the law firms. And when people have problems legally, the top two that they encounter organically are going to be family law. Well, family law, tenant law, and employment law, right? Because you got your family, you got your house, and you got your job. Those are three things you interact with, and that's where things often go off the rails. So as we were working on building out this law firm, we started to realize, wait, there's all of these employment inquiries that are happening all over. So we built out relationships with auto firms all over the country and started handling the employment inquiries that they were taking. So because we were doing this at scale, we put a lot of technology in place internally to help manage those cases, to track the cases. We built some custom technology to go into Pacer, into the federal court system, to pull documents down. We built Salesforce, but at the same time, we were doing all of these referral transactions, and there just was no technology to track referrals. As soon as someone sent you a referral, they just start emailing you or calling your number. I kid you not, in 2019, people were faxing us printed sheets saying, hey, here's a fax of all of the referrals that we sent you. What's the status of those? And when that's happening in 2019, you know that something needs to change. So we started working on a platform where law firms could come together to track the information about referrals. And because there wasn't anything out there. So, that was the genesis of the idea. And since then have expanded that far beyond that use case to be able to track referrals for basically any practice area. But our focus is on the plaintiff side. So single event cases and mass tort cases as the primary way for the primary case types for law firms to do the referral tracking.
Cool. That is cool.
So yeah, and from more of a technology. So yes, we have proprietary technology that helps to manage all of this, but really what it's about is a community of law firms that are all committed to transparency around referred cases and are willing to say, all right, we're going to come to the table. We're going to do referrals with each other, not in the old way where, hey, don't ask me about this case. It's my case now, but we're going to be transparent. We're going to share the updates about cases. We're going to make sure that when we contact the client that you know about that and everyone's working in lockstep. So to back that up, we built out a platform that can integrate into Filevine and Lead Docket and Litify and Smart Advocate to pull updates out, to move those referrals around so that law firms don't have to call each other anymore. They don't have to email each other for updates, that when you put an update into your Smart Advocate, it'll show up in my Filevine without having to do any extra work. We're just eliminating the manual data entry and making it so that law firms can not only do referrals better, but do them easier than they were in the past. So it's been a crazy journey so far. But the vision is to help, ultimately goes back to what I was talking about earlier, which is if we can make it easier for law firms to refer cases to each other and there's more trust, they're going to do more referrals and more people are going to get help with the cases that they need. And ultimately it's about access to justice.
So what you're telling me is if you've got a case management software that's got an open AI, open face that can interface with other, which I think most of them do now. I mean, I think needles would never, they fought us years and years, would never do it. We kept asking for it. And of course, you see what happened. They're they used to be the leader and now they're way down the pack. Have PILMA members every day leaving them and going to other ones like, Smart Advocate, Litify, Filevine, CasePeer. I mean, all the time. So these things so if I referred you a malpractice case or employment case, because that's what your firm did, then I put it in my system. Say I got Filevine and whatever system you got, say you got Smart. I'm sure you got Litify or something like that because you guys are tech savvy, or you probably made your own with Salesforce, but because that's what Litify is. Litify is sit on top of Salesforce, really. I mean, so I can pull that file open and then it'll just take me to your software and I can look in yours and see, okay, they did this, they talked to the client, or they did this, or they hadn't did this, or they're reviewing the medical records, or if it's a medical case or whatever. I don't have to call you up, and then I can see, and then I can also see how the client's doing, see what they're saying, because you can see what the notes are. I guess you can see the notes too. Do you open the whole file up or just certain parts of it? Or you can open the part you want?
Yeah, there's kind of a fine line there, right? Because you've got work product in your law firm that you don't want everyone, you don't necessarily want everyone to see. So our thing is that we basically pull in the kinds of activity that you're putting on that case. Is it emails? Is it phone calls? Is it whatever? And then we keep the, kind of the contents, that's yours, but we just pull in the activity to make sure that you are working that file, that you are logging that information. So that's where we kind of draw the line for law firms, because obviously we're not going to pull everything out. That's just too much. But yes, what you said is right. So the law firms that are sending case out to the platform, if you change your status in Filevine to, hey, I want this referred out, our system will grab that. We'll match it to the best law firm for that case, and then you'll get updates on that back into your system as that moves along. If they sign the retainer, you'll get the retainer uploaded, and then you'll get updates as the case moves toward completion.
Okay. What if I refer myself and don't go? Can I still use Lexamica or not?
If you refer yourself,
I know I got this guy that I refer all my med mals to, but I would love to keep up with them a lot, or maybe I got this guy I sent all my DWIs to, or I don't know, but I want to keep, I want to keep that relationship because he sends me business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can load in all of your law firms into our system, and we'll help you to onboard those law firms and train them on how everything works, get them hooked up, and then yes. So your people always take priority, but what we want to have is if you have a case that you don't have someone already for, we'll also match that, and we're building out coverage. So whatever kind of case it is, wherever that case is, we're going to match that and get someone to take a look at it for you. But yeah, absolutely. Almost every law firm that's been around at all has partner firms like you're talking about, that they want to do business with those firms.
Yeah, because you trust them, or either you got some deal that they can get you the most, or either they're sending you cases that they don't do. Sometimes you won't do that. Yeah. So how does it? I mean, this is great, but you can't do it for free. There is no free lunch. How do you do it? Like, if I got to pay for all those other guys I want to send the cases to, they have to pay for it. How does it? Is it kind of per user? Is it per case, or a combination of the both? Or
yeah, it's so man, I'll tell you, this is the thing that was the hardest about figuring out this platform. Like, it's not the technology, it's how do you price something where there's a bunch of different people on it. And what we landed with our current pricing structure is there's two ways to do it. You only pay if you're sending cases out. And the reason is because that's where law firms in this industry have felt the most pain. Is like, you send a case out and you have no idea what's going on. You don't know if you're going to get paid. You don't know if the law firm even took it. So we charge on that side. If you're sending cases out to 100 law firms, those 100 law firms aren't paying because they're just getting the cases. The two ways are, one, you can pay just a full service, for a full service, like we'll help you with every single part of your referral business, from the managing your partners to getting everything hooked up, to getting other people onboarded, to even crafting the campaigns to make sure that you're getting those referral cases out the door. All of that, that's one option, and that's a monthly service fee. And right now, that as of the beginning of November 2023, obviously subject to change, but that's $2,000 a month. So we're basically pricing it like you're paying for a VA, and instead of hiring a VA, you're hiring us to do all of that. And then the other option, like if you're kind of getting off the ground, getting started, it's not full service, but you can just push everything into our system. If you have a lead and you don't know where to send it to, you can send it through our system. And if we match it and that other law firm retains it, it's $100 for that match. But if you push in 100 leads and 30 of them match, you're only going to pay on the ones where you're going to get that value because you have a retainer on it. So, understand that contingency firms like to pay on a contingency basis. So those are the two ways we priced it right now. It's working so far. People are signing on to those. But nothing is ever set in stone. And because this is kind of a newer type of product, we're always toying around, playing with how do we align the value that we're creating with what law firms are paying for the product. Yeah.
And I would think, so are the mass tort firms, are they shining up to this? Or because that's the ones where you really worry. You send 300 cases and you don't know what's going on with them. And the clients call you bitching because they don't know what's going on. Hey, you refer me to this guy won't call me back.
Yeah, we do have law firms on that do mass torts. Primarily right now, it's single event. But mass torts firms are using it as well. But yes, you get these large batches of cases moving through and you want to know what's happening. You also want to know attrition on those cases. If you referred out 1,000 cases in Camp Lejeune or Roundup, some of those cases are just going to start to fall off over time, and you want to know what your portfolio of cases in that tort is, and you want to pull those updates out of a system and see it in one dashboard rather than having to go and get spreadsheets and try to line it all up.
Yeah. I can see oh, I was just sitting there thinking, if you'd had this about 20 years ago, I might have just turned into a referring firm and just did my marketing and just sit back and have a case management system, kind of just, keeping up with everybody, making sure everybody's happy and waiting for the checks.
But but the next Ken Hardison is on the horizon, and we want to be there so that, the 25-year-old version of you, not that you're more than 30 today. I know.
Oh, twice over twice over twice.
But we do have that vision that you immediately picked up on. One of the cool things when someone comes out of law school and says, you know what, I'm going to be a marketer. That's going to be my thing. And I'm going to build a whole law firm on top of Lexamica. And we do have a couple law firms right now that are just referring cases out. And it's really exciting because some people are great at marketing and some people are great at litigation. And this lets people be good at what they're great at.
Yeah. And I think what you're going to see with all this stuff out in Arizona, a lot of those you're going to see them want to use this because they're going to be marketing all over the country. They're going to be referring cases out. They want to keep up with them because they got I call it the New York Wall Street money, whatever you want to call it. But, and they watch their money probably better than lawyers do, to be honest with you. That's how they got so much of it. But, yeah, I could see that. And I think something else too, Gabriel. I think that you're going to see. This episode of Grow Your Law Firm is brought to you by PILMA, the Personal Injury Lawyers Marketing and Management Association. We grow law firms. To find out more about how we can help you grow your law firm to the next level, go to PILMA, PILMMA.org. I'm seeing it more and more. You're going to see more firms like that pop up, and you're going to see the price of a good litigator, what they can charge for referrals, and what they can command referral fee is going, and the picky, they can get a lot more picky about what they take, are going to be like the superstars. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be like rock stars. And not like it's already there some. I mean, look at, what's the guy that, does all the, I saw at Mass Torts, he had his own clothing line. That tells you he's a rock star. What was that guy's name? African-American guy, big guy, does all the did all those police assault cases. I can't remember his name now.
Ben Crump? Ben
Crump, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're going to see more and more Ben Crumps, in my opinion. And, they're going to demand, that's what he's got. He's got he's getting his pick of the litter right now. Cause he's built a brand and, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And yeah, absolutely. And on both sides, right? And that's why a platform is, I think, so important at this point, because as money comes in, as the equity landscape changes with the ABSs, people need a place to come together with that specialization. If you got, like you said, a fantastic litigator, you want a fantastic marketer on the other side to get those good cases. And it allows for more specialization. Like you can be this, very specific person. Like you can do this very esoteric type of case in one corner of the U.S. But if you practice that nationally, then every firm in the country should be sending you that kind of case. And that's something else that we're seeing too, is if you've got these people that have these like tiny little niche practices, but they're really valuable, like whistleblower, for example, right? Like key tam cases. Everyone in the country should be advertising for key tam, but it doesn't make sense until you have one place where okay, the key tam lawyers are here, because they're so few and far between. But when you get one, you should have that key tam lawyer on speed dial. And that's part of what we're trying to do too, is help create a ecosystem where you can just cast the wide net, even nationally and across all practice areas, and just be great at marketing. And everything that you originate, you can place, which is why we've attracted some early adopters of our platform, our social media creators who inherently have a national platform for their legal brand. And so up until our platform, there wasn't really a way for them to refer nationally. And so I think there will be more and more lawyers who are getting onto YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and using that as a platform for generating cases, because they can immediately refer those cases at a national scale through this platform. Whereas before it's like, well, you can't be like an Arkansas TikToker. That's kind of ridiculous, right? Like if you're big on TikTok, you're just big. And honestly, you're international. So it's just really interesting to see it from that perspective as well, because I don't think any law firm has really cracked the influencer code in terms of marketing. But if you look outside of legal, like everyone's using influencers all the time. But that's because most brands can easily work at a national scale, but very thinly sliced from a demographic perspective. Whereas most law firms are both geographically based and they're also a certain practice area and case type. And so without a way for all of that to kind of come together, I don't think we're going to see that. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with like the Morgan Connection and their kind of play as a referral network, but it's all really still Morgan, right? Like it's all going to them. There's been no true way to just match good cases to good attorneys wherever they are until we have a platform to do that.
So if somebody wants to find out more about this, who they need to contact, what's the number, the email, whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. Lexamica.com, like you said at the beginning of the podcast, LEXAMICA.com. I'm Gabriel at Lexamica.com. You're welcome to post my phone number, 501-707-5985. It's not a repeater or anything special like that. I'm sorry to all the PI firms out there. It's not 1-800-CALL-GABRIEL, although I wish it were. But that's my cell number. Feel free to reach out. And then you can also just book a time on our website to talk to me. At this point, I'd love to have a conversation. We're still learning and figuring this thing out. And that's why I like to get on podcasts with folks like yourself, Ken, who've been around for a long time, because I'm trying to learn this industry. Like I am a student of people like yourself who have done this and understand it in and out. And like, that's why, and I'll give you the shout out. Like I've been to PILMA twice now. It's a fantastic conference. We're going to be there next year, both to learn, to meet people, and obviously we'll be there exhibiting. But like, man, going to conferences and talking to people like you is the way to understand and engage with this space. It's incredibly valuable.
Thank you. I mean, listen, I used to have the deal. I would tell people, like, there was this one guy I was doing, I don't know if you remember this, years ago, there was all these stockbroker fraud cases, you were seeing them a lot back when Enron and all that stuff was going on. You're probably too young to remember all that. But I was doing a lot of TV. I was like number 2 guy on TV in my market. And so, big web prep. And I wanted to refer this, and it was hard to find a lawyer, but I wanted somebody kind of local too. And I found this lawyer, and I said, listen, here's the deal. We really give great client service. We return calls. We don't, we keep the client informed. I said, if you can't do that, I don't care how great you are. I don't refer you the case. And he said, oh yeah, I'll do it. And so it lasted about a year. And I had like 2 clients in a row call me. One said they would never call her back. The other one said he was rude to her, and she was crying when she was talking to me. That's the kind of stuff, you got to be careful because it reflects on you. So I think I fired him. I got somebody else in another state. I hated it, but, that's not a big deal. I've always felt, got to have somebody that's good, but they got to treat them right. Biggest complaint I get about these guys when we refer out mass tort cases is that they never, and I think some firms are getting better. They're putting out newsletters and emails and stuff. It's getting better. I know Ed Bell's doing a big Zoom meeting like once a month to give an update on what's going on, but there's no way you can contact 30. I mean, he's got like 20,000. No damn way he can contact 20,000 people. You got to do it more, but the technology is helping. I was just looking at some technology. I think it's Tavis, where I can do a video, and then I can take a list of names, and then it can do a voiceover and say, okay, hey Gabriel, here's what's going on with the talcum cases. Well, hey Ken, this is what. So I just do one and explain everything, and then it opens up with the video, and I'm calling them personally and put some personalization. So AI is going to make, it's changing everything, as we know. And I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg. And I don't even know how to type, but I know how to recognize something, and this is the deal. I mean, to me, it's going to change everything. It's already starting.
Absolutely. In ways that we can't even imagine right now. The one prediction I can make is that no one can predict what's going to happen with AI in the next 3 years. The rate of change is so fast. But yeah, I mean, every part of legal is changing, like right under our noses. But to what you said about the client side too. I mean, yes, we're just the business to business side, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot that's happening on the attorney to client thing. And I don't know I think you've had Case Status and HONA both exhibit at PILMA before, but like, I would highly recommend law firms go out and get those apps because that's how you keep your clients engaged and happy. And like, everyone should, I mean, at this point, like, I think you're basically committing malpractice if you don't have some way of updating your clients like you're talking about. And I hadn't heard about the app. Like there's stuff coming out every day, like those personalized updates. It's like you have no excuse for not keeping your clients in the loop because that data lives in the cloud and you have the ability to do mass communications. And at our law firm, we were just uploading videos to YouTube for each of our cases because we were doing these collective action cases on wage, and we just film a short YouTube video, put it up, unlisted link, post that out, send it to all the clients on the case, and boom, you've updated 500 people with a personal message at the same time. That's awesome. And man, clients love that, right? And like, that's such a cheap way to make a lot of people really happy. So it's cool to hear. I'm going to go research the app that you mentioned because it sounds like it's got some like AI component to make it even more personal.
It does. Yeah, it's not that expensive. Yeah. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
We got some mastermind members that are using it. And we were at Vegas last week and they showed us, and I went nuts. I said, I could use this.
Is it TAVIS? Is that, did I understand?
I think it's TAVUS.IA or IO, if I remember correctly. TAVUS.IA or IO, I'm not sure. Have you found it?
Yeah, I'm looking at it, man. I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole when I'm off this podcast. This looks really interesting.
Yeah, it's yeah, and so yesterday, and this is kind of off the subject, but we're here to help PI lawyers, and one of the biggest problems I see is that I tell them, when you go scale, you got to have processes and systems, right? Because you got to hire more people, you got to onboard them. You don't want to be held hostage by your people, but it's just hard to get the time to put all that stuff down, right? How to open up a file, how to get medical records, how to do this, how to prep for a deposition. Well, there's this thing now called HOWscribe.com. There's a Chrome extension, AI Chrome extension. You put it in there, and then when you're doing a process on your computer, it's videotaping and everything, and then an AI takes it and actually creates a step-by-step process. Of course, you might have to do a little tweaking here and there, but that's going to cut down, because that's the big problem, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody has this, but at least that's what the law firms tell me. They just nobody has time. This is going to cut it down. You got to do that task anyway. Well, why are you doing it? You got the little Chrome extension. And it's free. You can get a pro model, but you can do it yourself for free. And then you can download it into whatever, whether it's a Google, thing or Google Docs or what platform you're using. Some people use Suite. Some people use Touchstone.
Wow.
Some people use Manual. But you can.
I mean, Ken, this is awesome. I'm looking at it here. It's fantastic. Like, cause I'm, man, you're making me feel old. Like I use Loom to record my screen, and now you're telling me that like AI can turn it into a step-by-step manual. Yeah. I'm learning stuff here, and I'm supposed to be the tech guy, but this is cool, man.
Well,
like we got to use this for our tutorials for like how to hook up to our platform. Like this is amazing.
Yeah. Well, I learned it yesterday at our monthly PILMA meeting. Our marketing director, she was always like to have some training on some new stuff that we got, and she found this and she started using it about 3 weeks ago. She loves it, and so now we've got a way because we like to keep processes and procedures because things change and people go on maternity leave and stuff, and they like doing this podcast. We got a process. It's a process. I mean, you gotta find a guest, you gotta set things up, you gotta coordinate, you gotta sit there and then download this. Then you got to make notes, and then you got to throw it on YouTube, and then you got to push it out on all these platforms. I mean, it's just people. But yeah, no, I don't even know how to type, but I do know when I see something that can make things easier, I want people to know about it, And
yeah,
I thought I'd share that today. That's like a little golden nugget. It's got nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I think these two things we just talked about are good stuff.
Man, there's so many tips and tricks though. And especially if you're a law firm owner, your time is so valuable. Anything that you can do where you do it once and then it can be used over and over. That's the thing that you should be prioritizing. As like you're saying, you record, here's how you do this. Here's how you write this memo. Here's how you send this type of email. Here's how you do the podcast. Like there's so many. Yes, we should all be doing that as business owners all the time. And I'm going to be going and using Scribe absolutely moving forward.
It's HowScribe because there was a thing called Scribe.ai and it closed down for some reason. I think it got converted into something else. Because when she told me I was typing in Scribe.ai and I couldn't find it, closed down. She said, no, it's HowScribe, HOWScribe.com.
Got it.
A lot of these AI stuff is they got AI or IO or AI or whatever at the end instead of .com. So you got to, my first deal is got a .ai, but no, there's probably another 20 or 30 tools going out every day. And some of them ain't worth the shit and some of them are great.
It's amazing.
You got to weed through it.
I mean, if you're not picking up a tool a week, you're falling behind at this point, especially as everything's bringing AI in. And I don't know if you saw, but Microsoft today, they released their Copilot as a general release. So now for $30 a month, you can pull OpenAI into your Microsoft Office and it will summarize your emails. It'll build your PowerPoints. It'll make your Word docs inside of Microsoft Office, released for everybody. So now for $30 a month, everybody gets AI inside their Microsoft Office. Like, we should all take an hour today and go look at that, because if you're not, now you're wasting time every time you're doing something that Copilot could be doing for you.
That's
and
great.
It's amazing. Like, you can say,
I didn't know that. I heard it was coming, but I didn't know it was today.
Yeah, I saw it in my LinkedIn feed and it pushed out. I mean, we mostly use, like Google Workspace internally, so it doesn't apply directly, but I'm just going to go watch the videos because I'm so curious. Like, what are you able to do now? Because you can say like, hey, go create a PowerPoint with these 12 slides and it'll go do it for you. And then you just tweak it. And I mean, that's what I'm using GPT for in a lot of ways is, hey, craft this document for me. Give me some ideas for content. You know, here, I need these ideas. And like, you just don't have to start at zero anymore. To me, that's the biggest change in the past 12 months is like, I used to have to sit down at my computer and say, okay, I got to Google and pull some ideas together. And now I sit down in GPT and say, hey, I need 12 ideas for this. And then 15 seconds later, it's done. That's a game changer.
It is. So. It is. Well, listen, it was great talking to you again. I saw this when y'all were at the Bass Torps, and I think Glenn Lerner's got something to do with this. But I was impressed with it. I told him that. I said, this is we've been needing this. So because there's a lot of lost money out there. I was talking, and then I will shut up. So I was talking with this one law firm owner, and he says, I'm real picky. I just take the cases, you know. I said, well, what do you do with the ones you don't take? He said, I just turn them down. I said, you know, you're probably giving away $1 million a year. He said, yeah, this guy spends like 7 figures on marketing. He said, well, you know, I said, no. I said, find you somebody. He said, I got to find somebody I trust. I said, I'll help you. I said, you know, I said, a referral to me, then I'll refer them to them. I said, I'll do a double referral. I said, I guarantee you, with your volume, it's at least $500,000, probably $1 million a year. After about 2 years, you'll start seeing coming in.
Yeah. I mean, that's the perfect use case for our platform, because we have 130 law firms that want those cases that he's turning down, right? And for $2,000 a month, like, he could be referring every single one of those out. And we had a law firm that came on the platform early on, and they had put away hundreds of thousands of dollars in the pipeline within a couple of months, right? Like, if you have the leads, the value is there, and it's no work to do that. So I think that's a great note to wrap up on. And Ken, I really appreciate you having me on the podcast. Yeah. Always fun getting to talk, and excited to see where technology takes us. By the time we get to PILMA next year, we may all be living in an AI world. I don't even know what we're going to be talking about yet, but I'm sure it'll be crazy.
It will be. All right. Thank you, my friend. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.